Hey everyone, welcome to another round of test hands. Today we are going through the Celtic Guardian custom archetype. Let's see what we got. So here we open up with Celtic Cavalry, Celtic Guard of Noble Arms, Celtic Sacrifice, Celtic Cavalry, and Celtic Counter. It's not the best of hands if we are going first. There aren't too many moves that we would make here. We'd probably activate that Celtic Cavalry, summon Celtic Guard of Noble Arms to give it 2 counters, then set Celtic Counter and Celtic Sacrifice depending on how much we want to overextend. And here on our opponent's turn, we have the ability to negate a monster effect, as well as the ability to send a card on their field to the graveyard by sending the Noble Arms to the graveyard. But if we were going second and we had a 6th draw, let's see what we come up with. We get Celtic Guard Recruiter, which is amazing because then you can activate Noble Arms' ability to special summon Celtic Guard Recruiter from your hand, which gives you 2 more counters on Cavalry, which then allows you to activate its second effect by removing 4 counters to add a Celtic card from your deck to your hand. Let's go ahead and do that. You can add Celtic Reinforcements. And the reason you want to do that is, of course, if you're going second, let's assume your opponent has some field presence on the board. You can activate Celtic Sacrifice, which combos very well with Celtic Guard Recruiter, because Celtic Sacrifice requires you to send a Celtic Guard monster you control to the graveyard, and if you do, you can send 1 card your opponent controls to the graveyard. And since we send Celtic Guard Recruiter to the graveyard, when it is sent from the field to the graveyard by battle or by card effect, its effect triggers, allowing us to special summon a Celtic Guard monster from our deck. We would get out Captain of the Celtic Guard. So that gives us 2 more counters here. And when Captain of the Celtic Guard is summoned by the effect of a Celtic card, in this case the Recruiter, it gets one of 2 effects where you can either destroy spell and traps on the field up to the number of Celtic Guard monsters you control, in this case 1 other, or you can add a Celtic card from your deck to your hand. So we could bring out, search any number of these cards that we want to go with. Depending on our opponent's board, we could get rid of more threats through Sacrifice. We could build up our own board with Celtic Summon. We could have an additional negate with a second copy of Celtic Counter. A lot of moves that we could work with. Let's go with Celtic Sacrifice. And the reason I do that is, let's say our opponent has more than just 1 card that we got rid of with that first sacrifice. We still have reinforcements here that we can activate because we've already sent a Celtic Guard monster from our field to the grave. The way that Celtic Reinforcements works is that it counts the number of Celtic Guard monsters with different names that have been sent or removed from your field by battle or by card effect. In this case, that was 1. And you can special summon that many Celtic Guard monsters with different names from your deck. So if we activate Reinforcements, this allows us to special summon, if we wanted to get rid of our opponent's back row, another copy of Captain of the Celtic Guard and activating its other effect, or we can go with a Recruiter. Gives us 2 more counters here. And then we have another 2-card combo of Sacrifice and Recruiter to get rid of one of our opponent's cards. And then the Recruiter's effect activates to special summon a Celtic Guard monster from our deck. Again, that could be the Captain of the Celtic card to pop our opponent's back row. If we wanted to get some attack boost to just lay on some damage for our opponent, we could bring out Celtic Guard of Attack, which when summoned by the effect of a Celtic card, gives all Celtic Guard monsters you currently control 500 attack. Of course, that gives us 2 more counters on Cavalry. So here we have a 1900 attack, 2600, and 1950. We then have Celtic Cavalry's ability to search out a Celtic card. We'll bring out Celtic Summon. You can set this card and activate Celtic Summon to pitch our hand to special summon a Celtic Guard from our deck. So this could be, again, another copy of Captain of the Celtic Guard, Captain of the Celtic Guard of Noble Arms, or any of the other monsters that we want to go with. And so here on board, we have the ability to wipe out our opponent with more than 8,000 right here. So let's go with another test hand, see what we come up with. Two copies of Celtic Summon, Celtic Sword, Celtic Reinforcements, and Celtic Counter. So this is a bit of a slower hand, but what we could do is set 2 cards activate Celtic Summon, or if you wanted to, you could set that additional Celtic Summon. But I'll go ahead and activate Celtic Summon in pitch 2. Special Summon Captain of the Celtic Guard. Now again, when Captain of the Celtic Guard is summoned by the effect of a Celtic card, it allows us to get a search. So we'll do that. And we can search out any one of these cards depending on what we need. But let's just say we are going first. Play it safe, go with Captain, or go with Celtic Guard Recruiter. Normal summon that. And the reason you want to normal summon that is for a couple of reasons. First, in the end phase, Celtic Summon gives you draws up to the number of Celtic Guard monsters you control, with a maximum of the number of cards that you discarded for its effect. So in this case, we discarded 2, and we have 2 Celtic Guards, so we can draw 2. And then we also have Celtic Counter on the field. And the way that Celtic Counter works is that it can negate as many opponents' monster effects on the current chain up to the number of Celtic Guard monsters you control. So if your opponent were to activate a chain where they had 2 monster effects, you can negate both of them, which is an amazing ability. So there you have the Celtic Guard custom archetype. As you can see, this deck is capable of controlling the board with cards like Celtic Sacrifice and Celtic Counter, as well as being able to swarm the field with an army of Celtic Guards through cards like Celtic Summon, Celtic Guard of Noble Arms, and Celtic Guard of Attack. Let us know your feedback in the comments, and make sure you check out the rest of the custom showcase there in the card in the corner, as well as a link in the description. And do like and subscribe as we get into the next Kaiba monster coming up tomorrow.